Hey everybody, it's Martha. Welcome back to my Shabby Craft studio. Today you will hear some noises that you don't normally hear. I think you'll hear my husband going in and out of the room, and you may hear a sewing machine in the background, and that too would be my husband. He is sewing pockets for ephemera folios. I have one right at the moment. I've been making them with his help, and they are going up in the shop as I get them done. We get them done. I make the covers and do the binding and all that. A couple of these have sold, so don't look for these specific ones, but there will be more coming up in the shop in the next few days. Today is Sunday. There's another one. This one's really pretty. This is stamp period paper. So keep checking my shop. Link is in the description box below. Little upside down kind of, well, that looks like a heart, but the top is flat. Yeah, upside down triangle, black triangle. Click in that if you're looking on a mobile device. Anywho's, I'm kind of out of it today. It's been a really long week, but I'll tell you about that after I get started. So Gayle Augustinelli recently did a video on doing the collage sheet, but I'm trying to cut down the glare here, sorry, but using napkins over the top of the collage sheets. So using a neutral like book page background or music pages or whatever background, and then putting the napkins over that. So I made one yesterday here, and this is what I made. And I used a lot of tissue paper in this one too. This is tissue paper. This is tissue paper. This is Tim Holtz. This is tissue paper, but it came from a restaurant. This is tissue paper, again, Tim Holtz. This is scrapbook paper. This is one of my digitals. Actually, I don't think I've put this digital up yet, to be honest. So, retract that statement. Anywho's, I do plan on putting that. It's very old medical prescription sheet that I got. Interesting. I've scanned some of it, was having trouble with my scanner at the time, so I need to go back in and revisit that. But today I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat big time. I'm going to use my, my iced tea is sitting on my pages. Not a good mix. Today I'm going to use some of my digital papers as background because they're pretty neutral, and I'm going to see how the napkins look over the top of these too. So we're going to start. I'm still going to tear them up into sheets and stuff, but you know, because that just makes it more interesting as far as the edges. I think I love collage with the uneven sheets. Now this is not as brilliant as they usually come out, mostly because I used 20-pound copy paper. I usually print on 24 or 28 pound, and I really like the way that paper comes out. But because I'm using it for collage, I did it on 20-pound copy paper, and that makes it so that it is lighter with all the layers that build up, and I don't want this to be really heavy anyway. This is going to be backed with some of my dyed calendar pages. If you haven't watched previously, I went ahead and bought a bunch, and I'm talking a bunch, of desk calendars, and they don't have dates on them, and Walmart was selling them for $1 each, and so we picked up what they had in the closest Walmart to us, and so I have probably, I don't know, maybe 15. And they are so cool. So we are dyeing them. They're out in the sun right now. It's been in the 90s here for about 2 weeks now. We had just, you know, before I complained about dark and gloomy and rain. Yeah, we haven't had any of that. It's been very bright. Straighten it up. It's been very bright and hot. Very, very hot. So, I just tore the edge off of that, but it's full of glue, so I'm trying to get it off my finger. So I just took the dogs out front, and the grass is just getting burnt to a crisp because it's been so hot. We try not to water, mostly because, you know, water bills. Water costs money. So we haven't watered a whole lot. And yeah, so there's that. But the reason I'm out of it is because one of our dogs, not the little white fluffy one that snores all the time in the background. My card is here somewhere. But the other one, our Papillon, who is a sweet angel. Well, they're both pretty sweet, but she can be a terror, even though she's not a terrier. So, yeah, so he got sick. He got pretty sick. And this happens to him probably once a year or so. He gets a real bad intestinal thing going on, and, you know, nasty things happen. Sometimes it's both ends. Sometimes it's one or the other. This time it was a lot of vomiting, and he could not even keep water down. And of course it happened on a Sunday, on 4th of July weekend. And no, it wasn't the fireworks, because he's lost a good portion of his hearing. I should have attached another page to that first. Oh well. Oh well. Too late now. And so he couldn't hear the fireworks. And so it wasn't that. It wasn't because there were fireworks on 4th of July. So he got sick Saturday night, Sunday morning overnight. When I woke up Sunday, there was a mess on the floor. And since we've been through it before, I didn't freak out. I knew it would probably be at least a few days of him not feeling well. And the vet clinic we currently go to is a new vet clinic for us. And they haven't been through this with us before, with him before. So I called them on Monday morning, first thing, as soon as they opened, because I figured 3-day weekend, holiday weekend, lots of barbecues, lots of cookouts, even though COVID-19 is still going on. People are gathering and they're doing things they probably shouldn't, but anywho's. I called first thing, they got me in, and it was with the vet that hasn't taken care of Evan before. And so I said, okay, because he had to be seen. I knew he had to be seen. And because the vet clinics are not allowing people in, I knew we'd probably have to leave him, which I'm not really comfortable with. But I do like this vet clinic, and I've liked every vet tech and vet assistant that works there that I've met. So I decided that if we had to leave him, I would not be mad about that, because since he couldn't even keep water in, I knew that he was getting dehydrated. And I knew that wasn't good for him. So, see, this just goes to show that if you have a collage background, you can tear it apart and recollage it. So, not so lazy. It's not like I just laid a collage sheet down. I wanted to have some texture. So, yeah. So, Monday we ended up taking him at 10:30, and we had to leave him, of course. And now this one I'm going to tear because I want that edge of the top of what's underneath it. Oops. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Now these are in my shop, these collage sheets, and this is some stitching that I did on one of them. Anywho's, what was I saying? So, yeah. So we stayed Monday, and the vet was talking. Oh, so what happened was he was supposed to see a vet we didn't know who wasn't familiar with this case, but when they came out and got him and did some initial looking at him to see if he was dehydrated or whatever, which he was, the vet that normally sees him called me, and I was really, really happy about that. She's the one who called me on the phone, and she was taking care of him. So I guess when he came in and she saw his name, she chose to take the case, which really did make me happy. She probably wasn't happy by the end of the week because I was all over her about his care, but in a good way, not in a bad way. So, yeah, so he stayed the day, got fluids, got some anti-nausea medicine via a shot, and she had wanted to do a blood pressure check on him anyway because he has kidney disease. And so he was there about 2 weeks. Well, now it's probably about 3 weeks. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't shake you. I have to move some stuff out of my way. I'm getting too long here. It's taking over. I'm going to flip this over. Maybe I'll only do these 4 long. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 pages long. So, where'd I leave off? So, 2 weeks ago, he went in for his regular checkup for his bladder to make sure he did not have any bladder stones, because I think it was 2 years ago now, not 3, but 2, I think. We were on a trip in Georgia and he got sick, and I thought it was just his yearly thing like he went through this time, and it was not. He had bladder stones. And so a week after coming back from that trip, we had to take him in for surgery to have the bladder stones removed. Yeah, so poor little guy, he's been through his share. And he, no, I'm going back over here. I want to finish this side. It doesn't quite fit. I'm going to put it there. So he, try not to overthink this. Honest, I really am trying not to overthink it. But I can't seem to think and collage and talk at the same time, can I? And that's because I'm tired. Because it's been a week. So 2 years ago, he had bladder stones removed. So 2 weeks, I think it was 3 weeks now. But 2 weeks before he got sick, he had just been in for his checkup and had just had his bladder x-rayed and blood work done. And his numbers are a little off because they're going to be off because he's got kidney disease. But the vet isn't like, you know, very overly concerned at this point. But I knew 2 years ago, because of the bladder stones, I changed his diet. We cook for them. Well, I should say my husband cooks for him. He does all the cooking now of the prep of the food, because I was doing it for a long time. But he helps now. So, he came back from that checkup, and he was not in horrible shape. He needs his teeth done. He needs this. He needs that. You know how that goes. Where was I going to put this? I forgot. You know, because it was 2 seconds between the time I did it and the time I glued it. And so he had done okay on that. Not crazy about his numbers, like I said before, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Like I said, we know that his numbers are off. They aren't terribly worse than they were. So the vet is not highly concerned at this time. Let's just put it that way. So now this comes along, and he's not feeling well. And we dropped him off. She gave him fluids, gave him the anti-nausea medicine. And while he was there, she took his blood pressure, which she had wanted to do 2 weeks prior, but neither of us thought about putting that on the sheet and getting it done 2 weeks ago at his checkup. So she did his blood pressure and checked his heart and all that, which they should do anyway. A vet, that's like one of the first things they should do is check his heart rate and all that. So she took his blood pressure, and because a very high blood pressure could signal that there are problems with the kidneys, just as an aside. So that is why she wanted to check the blood pressure and had forgotten while he was there 2 weeks prior. Checked his blood pressure, and his blood pressure and his heart rate were like scaringly low, like very, very, very low. And she was not thrilled about that. Let's just put it that way. And so she was concerned that he was going to need to stay overnight either in her vet clinic or in an emergency vet clinic. And the problem with their vet clinic is, I can't get this off now. I need to change my sheet. Dang it. Okay. The problem with their vet clinic is that no one's there overnight. And I did not want him there overnight. I used to work in a vet clinic. I am not a vet tech, but I know enough to make me aware and annoy veterinarians and other veterinary hospital people with just enough knowledge to drive them crazy. And I know it does. I know it does. I try not to do it, but you know, they're my babies. So it's just the way it goes sometimes. So I said no, I would not be leaving him overnight. And no, I would not be spending the money on taking him to an emergency vet clinic. And I thought probably what would happen was that once he got the fluids on board, he would be better. And he was. So by the end of the day, when we were ready to pick him up, his blood pressure and his heart rate had both improved. And so she was fine letting him come home. So we brought him home. And he didn't really want to eat a whole lot. He tried a couple of little things. Wasn't that thrilled with it, but I wasn't pushing it. And we had medicine to give him to settle his tummy for the next day. And I was just going to let him get over it. And so, you know, next day went by. He ate a little bit, which cheered us up. We were happy with that. And he basically didn't really bounce back. So she wanted an update every day of how he was doing. And I was happy to give it to her because I was not happy with the way things were going. So he had his ups and downs all week. To make a very long story longer, he had his ups and downs all week. Luckily, he slept at night, and I slept at night because I was so exhausted from worrying all day about him that I was just wiped out. I couldn't think straight. And as the week went on, it just got worse. And so I didn't get a video in last week at all. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. I know that. And I know him, but he's getting older. And that is sort of becoming a bigger issue now with all the stuff that's going on with him otherwise, with the kidney stuff. And I don't know if I want it that way. So bless his little heart. You know, dogs, some dogs are nonchalant. That's Gabby. That's the little white fluffy dog. She's pretty nonchalant. If something's bothering her, she'll give you a look. But poor Evan. Evan just kept looking at me like, first off, why did you leave me at that place last week? And secondly, why am I not feeling better? Why can't you do something to make me feel better? And I was trying. I really was. And the one thing the docs hadn't given me yet, because he was not having diarrhea, but because he wasn't eating, he wasn't going at all. So there's that. But metronidazole. Metronidazole is an antibiotic. And I'm going to have to put this stuff on the floor. Sorry. There's 3 buckets of stuff beside me, and I just don't have the room to spread. Okay. That feels better. Whew, space. And every time in the past that this has come up, he has almost instantaneously gotten better if they give me metronidazole. Now, I didn't ask for it this time because he was not having diarrhea. However, by Friday, he still wasn't improving either. He was up and down. He'd get up one day and he'd eat. And then later in the day, he wouldn't want food. He would get up one day and not eat, but by evening he would want his food. It was just making us absolutely crazy with worry and with, you know, what do we do now? As you can see, this is all very bland and neutral. So that's why they make really great background sheets. So Friday I called and I said, look, you know, he's just not improving the way I'd like to see him improve. It's been Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 days. We all know math is not my strong point. And I'd like to be able to get him something else on board. And when he was going to the bathroom, it was very, very soft at times. Not every time, but at times. So I said to her, to the doctor, to the veterinarian, well, I didn't get to talk to her directly, but I got to speak to the I think she's the office manager. And she was extremely kind. And I said to her, I need to get something on board that will help him feel better. And in the past, that's always been metronidazole, even though he doesn't have the runs. So bless the veterinarian's heart. I think she was sick of hearing from me every day. Every day I called her with an update. Didn't get to speak to her directly most days, but I passed on messages. My fingers are so gluey. I think I need to wipe them off. I can't even tear this paper because they're so gluey. So sticky. I said to her, you know, I'd give her an update every day, and I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, he's at a 5. On a scale of 1 to 10, he's at a 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, he, you know, whatever. And so I sent, and when I called and spoke to the office manager, who I think she was, and she answered the phone, and she may also be a vet tech, I don't know. But she was so kind and kept asking me questions and kept taking information and just really didn't want to hang up until she was sure that I was fine with everything they were giving me. So they gave me more of the anti-nausea med. They gave me more of the, there was another medicine to coat his stomach. And they gave me more of the, and they gave me metronidazole. So I was, this is not laying very flat. When I put those two sheets together, they did not meet up well. So I was happy about that. That was enough to get us through the weekend, if anything flared up again with him. And it was enough to, I'm just going to fold that under. Because why not? I glued all though. So the minute we got home, I gave him the metronidazole. And, oh, that's too much now. And that afternoon, within 2 hours, he wanted to eat again. We boiled some chicken, which is very good for dogs with upset tummies. It was an organic chicken breast that we bought for us. And we, yes, fits. And we bought, we didn't buy, we already have on hand because they get it anyway, white rice. So we had boiled white rice and boiled chicken breast, and he was a happy boy. He ate like there was nothing wrong. Why the metronidazole does it even though he isn't having, you know, that problem for which it is made, he seemed to bounce right back then. So I'm not sure why it seems to work every time. And the veterinarians sort of discourage overusing it or overprescribing it. People can take metronidazole too, and I'm sure that they have problems with people wanting drugs that they want to use for themselves. I don't want to take metronidazole if I don't have to. That is not in my DNA to take any drugs that I don't have to take. So I understand. I mean, having worked at a vet clinic, I understand totally the concern with giving drugs that might not be necessary. But my dog is 13, and he's got kidney disease, which metronidazole is not good for. I already know that. But, you know, lesser of two evils. Got to make him comfortable. Got to make him happy. Got to make him eat. And so he's coming back to normal. He's not 100%. But then he's been acting a little off for a while now anyway. He lost his hearing, not all of it, a good portion of it. And he has been acting really weird since that happened. He was a very alert dog, always, and a very loving dog because he was a therapy dog for probably 4 or 5 years at the hospital. And he loved doing that because it got him lots of attention. So who wouldn't love that, right? And he's not an introvert, that's for sure. And so, yeah, it's just not like him to be kind of down and sleeping a lot, but he's 13. So he's getting up there. And I have to admit that to myself. Sadly, I have to admit that to myself. It's so hard having animals. So last year, we had to put our horse down. This year, my dog is not bouncing back like I'd like him to. So it's been tough. It's been a tough week. It's been a tough couple of years. Last year at the beginning of spring, my husband's father passed away. And we weren't sure because my mother-in-law was moving to Kentucky to be with my husband's sister, her daughter. And so it was, don't glue the wrong side, Martha. So last year was a tough year and we didn't get to travel. And then this year we had made plans, no matter what, we're traveling. That's what we're going to do. We all know how that turned out. It didn't. Here I sit. So, yeah. It's one of those things that you wonder why things happen the way they do. But if we had been out traveling and this had happened to him, we would have had to come home. I would not have taken him to a strange veterinarian in a strange town or city. I just would not have been comfortable with that. So, yeah. So here we are with our old dogs, and both of them with kidney disease, and him with bladder issues, and him with this stomach upset issue. So I know that's the way it goes with pets, and it's frustrating as all heck. And these aren't my first pets. They may be my last, though. It's tough. I mean, I think it was 3 years ago, we took our cat to a different vet, one near where we live, and he passed away while she was doing some tests, and that's too matchy-matchy. Passed away while she was doing some tests with him on the table. So I was not, we were very shocked and unhappy with that result. And then last year, the father-in-law and the horse. And this year, not the first year that it's happened, but this year, a worse case of his intestinal issues with my older dog. So yeah, last few years have been tough. I don't know if this is going to happen all in one video. I'm going a little slow here. The gluey fingers don't help. I need a wet wipe. It's sort of on the other side of the room, and I'm trying to avoid getting up and getting it. All right, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to get it, because if I start using napkins and my fingers are this sticky, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly. All right. Where am I? We are at 33 minutes. A little over halfway there. So that one's going to dry. I'm not going to cut that one because wet glue. Don't like cutting wet glue. Oh my gosh. All right, let me get this stuff put aside. Now I'm going to use this one because, get my card, get that over there. I'm going to put my papers aside. I have my napkins here. Okay, what was I saying to you? I'm going to have to get a wet one. I'm going to find them. They're here somewhere. Where are they? Okay, I'm here. Oops. Oh, my dog's not happy. Something almost fell on him. He's a very spooky dog. He does not like things that fall on him, or the other one, something falls on her, she just looks at you like, was that on purpose? Are you doing this on purpose? Oh my gosh, my hands, my fingertips are so sticky. And it's getting very hot in this room. It's been in the 90s every day for 3 weeks now. Well, I guess 3 weeks ago for a week, it was like in the upper 80s. Sorry, needed a drink. And I have the slider shut so my husband can sew pockets, more and more pockets. All right, so this is what I did previously, and I covered the back, and some of it's very stiff and some of it's not, because I used tissue paper and then lighter paper on the back. This is very heavy paper, these two sheets here. So let me move these. I did not prepare well. Sorry, guys. This has been a week. I'm telling you. It's been a week. All right. 8 tall. And 12. And 9.5. 9, 10, 11. So 21.5. So I think what I'm going to do, since they're 8 tall, 8 tall, I could make tall tags, but do I want them that tall? I think what I'm going to do is make a couple of tags and some pockets, kind of like Gayle did. Problem is, I don't know if I want 8-inch tags. Oh, Martha, just decide. All right, let's make a 3-inch, and of course I have to now square off this edge, and this bottom. I want to get one of those guillotine cutters like Gayle and several other people have. I think it would be very convenient. That is not there is nothing straight about this, I don't think. Oy, oy, oy. Holy moly. Speaking of holy moly, have you guys seen that show called Holy Moly? It's about putt-putt golf. Very strange show. Kind of funny, kind of humorous, kind of weird. Don't love that. Okay. Oh, Martha. All right, I'm going to do a 4-inch, and I'm going to cut it in half. And this is about 8 tall. So I think I'm going to cut it in half. No, that wasn't in half. Again, Martha's math. It's a Martha math day. I'm not loving the way these are coming out because I'm not cutting them the way I want them. All right. I'm going to do a 4-inch. Let's see. Let me do a 5-inch. Okay. And then okay. Pockets. And then 4, 2. I'm gonna make a couple of skinny tags. Oops. Or belly bands. So they're going to be 2 inches wide. Somehow I've gotten off kilter as far as cutting these things. So. Oh my God. This is not turning out well at all. All right. These are really, really off kilter. So I have to do something about that. Anyways. Oh, I am not happy the way I cut this at all. So don't do as I do. Please go watch Gayle. She did hers so much better. So much better. I'll link hers below. Man, this is sad. Really, really sad how bad this is. I don't know if it's me because the papers are on there crooked or what, but I'm sure these are not squared off at all. Pick a side, make it square, Martha. Pick a side, make it square, square it up. Okay. Still looks off to me, but oh well. That's life, right? Okay. So I am either going to use, and I'm curious to see how it's going to work on the tissue paper. This one's weird because like it's soft and hard from different papers being on the back. That's going to be a pocket. That's going to be a pocket. And that's going to be a pocket. And that's going to be a pocket. That'll be a tall tag or journaling card. Pocket, belly band, journaling tag. Okay. So I'm going to glue this down first. Oh, here's a tip for you. If you use our glitter glue, it's now July. You know they don't ship in winter because it's cold. And it compromises the glue and breaks it down if it freezes. And it won't work right. So they won't ship to you in winter. So if you're running low, check your stock of our glitter glue. If you're running low and you don't want to spend a lot of money all at once, order 1 or 2 bottles now, refill bottles, and order a couple next month, and then you'll be set for winter after a couple of months of doing that. Tip. Alrighty. So, napkins. I like it. I'm just going to, now I should use water, but since my hands are not sticky, thank you very much, I'm just going to tear this one. Let's leave the beak on, Martha, please. No beakless birds. So this was supposed to be a year where the 17-year cicadas. I think I'm going to tear this. Am I going to tear that, or am I just going to put it on? I didn't prepare. I want to get, here it is. Whoa! Almost lost it. I'm going to use my Liquitex matte gel. Oh, holy moly. Okay, I'm here. I'm getting my brushes. Again, not prepared. I could use glue on this one since it's a solid piece. I think I'm going to do that. What's that doing over there? Okay, you guys. So instead of matte gel, today on this one, I'm going to use my glue stick. And yes, it's purple. And yes, it'll dry clear. So it'll be okay. And using the glue stick actually gives a different feel to the napkin. It's more textural. It doesn't blend in as much as if you're using a liquid glue or a matte gel. Oop, come on. And I should be wearing my reading glasses, and I'm not. Card. Now, if you're using glue, wet glue, I have a little fold in there. That's okay. There. And we'll see how that sticks over the tissue paper. I don't know if I want something up here to kind of hide that, or if I'm going to leave it that way. Scissors. Scissors. And since I don't trust myself today, because, you know, I probably shouldn't even be handling scissors, I'm going to use my card. Oh. So my husband wanted me to cut his hair yesterday. And I did it twice before. The first time it came out really good. He was really happy with it. And I think he was surprised and shocked. The second time, not so good. I guess I wasn't in the mood. I didn't wear my glasses, my reading glasses. And I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And so, yeah, it didn't come out so good. And so, oh, that's pretty. I like that. I love this idea, Gayle. Genius. I just don't know if this one's a little taller, so it might fit the birdie better. And it's got music behind it. So if the music shows, it's kind of appropriate for the bird, right? Yeah, it's still just... I'm going to have to put it down there and lose some of the bottom of the flowers to get the bird wing. Or do I do a Rachel and just say, well, it loses the bird wing and it's flying into the scene. And the bird is out there in the sky. I mean the wing. Nah, can't do that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue this whole thing. And I do love my Scotch Create glue. There's two glues that I really like a lot. Scotch Create and the Elmer's, but the Elmer's has to be not the school glue, not the school glue, but the Craft and Bond is the best Elmer's. Okay, am I going to be able to... Well, you know, let's make life a little tougher, Martha. Let's use the whole napkin instead of cutting the napkin where it would be easier to place. Oh no, why would we think about doing that? Okay. There. Yeah, think. All right. So I want the bird kind of over here on the edge because I'm going to cut a little thumb hole in the top of this. And I didn't want to, again, cut into the bird. Okay. Yep, that works. So the Scotch Create comes in a white and a purple. Either one is fine. The purple is a little gooier, if that's a term. It's a little more gooey and can come off in clumps more. But it holds, and it holds fabric too. I've had not a problem with it holding fabric down, although I do still sew around whatever the fabric is usually. But, okay. Not very neat, but you know, it is what it is. No glasses. Stressful week, yeah. It is what it is. All right, I will not put that thumb hole in there yet because wet glue. Me and wet glue, we have a war going on. But it's not the war that counts, it's the battles, right? So I try and... Now that purple will disappear. That clump of purple there, that'll disappear. It'll be okay. So will all that purple. It'll just dry clear. And I may round the corners, and I'll probably put a thumb hole up there. But I like that because the music shows through. Get it a little closer. See? I think that's pretty. Genius, Gayle. Genius. Very excellent idea. Okay, next, we're going to move on to a different napkin. Yes, we are. And maybe a different technique. We'll use the matte. This is Liquitex matte gel. It's almost gone. I think I have another one in a drawer somewhere. And I think I bought it at AC Moore before they went out of business. So there's that. So if you know me, you know I love my butterflies. They're too big for on there. Okay. Next, different napkin. Ooh, I wanted to do these. That's pretty. That'll work. Okay, so I'm going to carefully tear it. That's the little white fluffy dog snoring in the background. I don't know if you can hear her. Very soft today. Oh, Miss Gabby. I hope I'm on screen. So my eyes are tired. I've been having to wear my glasses. I've been a little crafty. I mean, like I said, we made the ephemera folios. Oops, come on, no bubbles. And I may sew around these, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. All depends on what I'm looking for in the pocket itself. Okay, so this one I am going to put a little over the top. Now I could have torn around these little flowers, and I could have put them on separately, but I don't think that's going to happen today. My patience probably isn't good enough for that. So I'm going to let that dry, cut around the edges, put a thumb hole in it, maybe around the corners, and that's a pocket. And where's my wet one? Anybody know? Anybody seen it? That's not it. Oh, Martha. Seriously, where did I put my wet one? Yeah, that's the kind of week I've had. All right, never mind. We'll just carry on. Carry on, Martha. Carry on. Okay. That's pretty. That would fit there. Okay. So I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to cut it down that away. Scissors. I want my large scissors for this one. Wow, the sun just went behind a cloud and it is dark all of a sudden. Okay. So I haven't asked, but I hope you're all doing well. I don't know what happened to my husband's sewing. He quit. He quit sewing. I wonder if he had a problem with the machine and he needs me to help. That's possible. He's done so well. I mean, like, fine handwork is not his thing. I mean, his last name means big hands. So he's a very smart, very intelligent man, but fine handwork, really not his thing. But he wanted to help, so he's like, teach me to sew. I'm like, okay. So I did. He's done really well. I mean, I have to do a little quality control because, well, you know, control. that is in there. So I've had to do a little bit, but now if I could just get him to be interested in looking things up on the computer like Rachel's husband. Rachel's almost done with her 100-day challenge, 100-day project. And I mean, she was doing videos quite often, maybe not every single day, but quite often. And before the 100-day challenge started. And everybody's worried they're going to miss her, but hey, you could always go back and watch last year's because she did some amazing projects last year too. All right. So, when I run into problems with, oh, I have a funny story to tell you too. When I run into problems with like little tiny edges like this knot, I use my art glitter glue. It's just not worth it to try and get a glue stick under there, like back here. And if that edge isn't sticking, it's not going to stick when you re-stick it with glue stick. Can you say that 10 times fast? So I just use my art glitter glue with the fine tip. Any glue you got with fine tip, I use that to secure edges and corners and stuff like that. That'll make a pretty belly band. And I'll probably end up sewing on some of these. I will probably end up putting some labels and some other things so that this isn't quite so dark. I really like the muted look behind the napkin. So there's that one. How much time? I can't see. 56. So we're coming up on an hour. So anyway, I'm happy that you guys joined me, and I'll probably just finish up here. Oh, I was going to tell you a funny story. I pulled out a different needle to do my signatures in the ephemera folios. And I pulled out a different needle, and I really liked using it. And usually, because I use the big foam pillow and I stick my needle and my pokey tool in there, I usually stick the needle in the foam pillow, right? I've showed you guys that on video before. And so I could not find the needle after I put it down. I have no idea where it went. I looked for an entire week. Now, mind you, this is the week that, you know, we're dealing with Evan and his problems and all of that. So looking, I get down on my hands and knees. I'm looking on the rug. I'm going through the rug like every day trying to find, because I don't want to step on it. Don't want my dogs to step on it. It's under the desk. They don't usually go under the desk, but occasionally Evan will go under the desk. Occasionally. And no, he didn't eat the needle. So I sit down at my desk yesterday. And like I said, I have not spent a lot of time sitting at my desk, but I've been at it a bit this week, here and there, when I figured out something to do and I felt like I could get it done. So I sit down at my desk and I have this this twirly storage thing. It's on a Lazy Susan. So I sit down, I twirl it around because I'm looking for something in one of the pockets of it, right? And what do I find? I find the needle. I just started laughing at myself because, you know, I looked for the stupid needle like 100 times. That's Tony walking through the room trying to be sneaky. He's going out in the 90-degree weather to check the paper, which I'm sure has to be dry by now because it's been out there for 45 minutes. And it's 90-something degrees. That's pretty. I do like the way the papers show through. All right, well, maybe we'll continue this in the next video. Maybe tomorrow I can turn the camera on again for a little while. And it's getting really hot in my sunroom right now, and especially with Tony going in and out to the deck, it's going to get even hotter. And it's past noon, so it's going to get even hotter. Yeah. That's going to make a pretty journaling tag. That's the back, that's the front. This is actually a watercolor paper on the back that I tea stained. It's got a really nice texture to it. And this is the calendar back, which is what he's out dyeing right now. I'll tell you, if you find those calendars, get them. They are so worth it. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. We made this one. And we made this one, which is now dry. this one, and we made this one, and we made this one, which could have something else go on top of it, which probably will. And we made this one. And when the other card dries, tomorrow I'll figure out the measurements and cut it so that it makes more tags. But I have all these pockets now. So I still have to put napkin on those. So when we come back, we will work on some more of this. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I needed the company. Been a little lonely around here lately. So I hope you all are doing well. Take care. I love you. Happy crafting. Be well. Be safe. Wear your mask. It does make a difference for those of us that are compromised. And I hope everybody stays safe, well, healthy. Drink your water. It's summer here. It's hot. Hugs. Happy crafting. Bye, everybody.